as I'm hearing you now and I'm thinking about this current trauma that's being endured by Black members of the restaurant and hospitality industry, are there conversations or what are the conversations that are happening within those spaces that speak to what the future might look like? I have friends who are in this industry, and as you just said, they break down the numbers. It literally they lose money by turning on the lights. And then if you get certain loans or benefit programs, you have to commit to rehiring the same number of people that you had before, but I can't physically sustain the same number of people I had before because I can't have the same number of clients and customers as I had before. What are the conversations within the Black sectors of this industry as to what the future looks like? What are ways that Black patrons can help provide either a lifeline or help to connect with them in different ways? I mean, is everyone moving into catering? What are some of those conversations look like as people re-envision and reimagine what the future might look like?
I mean, we have always catered. So that's where you find a lot of Black people. Black people catered because the overhead was less. So I know there are friends who are catering. They're doing private chefing. They are doing delivery. It's different for everybody. But I think that we're going to lose a lot of our Black restaurants. And I want to be clear. Yeah. And I want to be so clear here because when people see these restaurants going under, and some of these long-time soul food restaurants, so there was a restaurant in Nashville. It's escaping the name is escaping me right now, and they were going under. Gift cards, things like that. Buy a meal and send it to somebody, even if you're not in the same town. But you have to ask yourself as a Black person, were you patronizing them before? Because so often we're not going to our own restaurants. And so often we are expecting an experience in our restaurants, not saying that we can't give it, but an experience and where it is and all the drinks and the this and the that we don't have the money and the wherewithal as a whole to give our customers. And so we are wanting a white experience sometimes in a Black restaurant. And it's not because the person doesn't want to give it to you, but they don't have, the loans aren't approved to give them that experience. And by the time they move out of that space, then, and to go across the tracks or wherever, they can't find space. So there's so much unpacking to do and to say just in that alone. So will we lose them? And it's this whole thing about what does soul food mean? So then when we go to our Black restaurants, we want them to give them this soul food, the food that we want to eat on the DL just with each other and not even eat in those other restaurants. Okay, I'll do that. But there's just so much for me to unpack in all of that, right? It's easy to say we're going to patronize our restaurants, or where are they, and get so mad. But were you patronizing them before? I still have people say, "Oh man, I'm going to come to your restaurant. I'm sorry I didn't make it." I'm like, it's been closed for 2 years.
Right. Where were you 2 years ago? Yeah. Before the pandemic. But I think Lorraine's raising something that we need to start to, because asking the question helps us find the answers.
That's right.
After there's no longer a pandemic, when the ashes are dry, are cooling off from this civil unrest that we're currently under, we need to start to look at, when we rebuild our neighborhoods and our communities, what kinds of food sources, grocery stores, because I know that this is important. We're finding now what lack looks like when we don't. Food desert is not even the answer. Are we going to start to build maybe greenhouses in our neighborhood with fruits and vegetables so that we can shop in our own neighborhoods? Who's going to, let's start heading that up. Maybe our grocery stores need to be owned by us. My dad had a grocery store in Newark, so I know what that looks like to have a corner store that is serving the community, that's open 24 hours every day, even on Christmas, to serve the community. I know what that looks like to come from that community and serve that community. Is that something that we should be reimagining or going back to? Because that's our foundings.
I think so. I think that you bring up a really good point, and not just the stores, but what about the black farmers? There are plenty of black farmers even in this area. What about them? Because when you close the restaurant, that affects all of the purveyors. That affects all of the farmers. That affects all of the grocers that you were working with. So it's not just the restaurant, right? So I think it's a time to reimagine and let all of us do that. Like, envision, what do you want? What does our community look like? You know, I think that having our own stores, it's no small feat to have a grocery store. So hats off to your dad. Because, I mean, think about bringing in all of the things and also supporting your stores. And just, it's like when you see art and there's beautiful art on the walls, and somebody not defacing it with a tag mark, right? So if you have these stores in our neighborhood, respect them and respect the people so that they can grow with the community, because they're there for you. You know, so it's all of that.